Okay, so it is 11:03 now, so we're going to officially begin. Aloha and welcome to today's Warrior webinars. My name is Connie. I am an admissions counselor here at the University of Hawaii at Manoa. And today's topic, as you can tell from our PowerPoint here, is an application walkthrough and tips. So today's webinar is going to be like a demonstration, a walkthrough of filling out the application, how to fill it out, where to fill it out, and a few tips as well. So I know we have some questions coming in, and I believe they will all be answered throughout the rest of the presentation, but keep them coming throughout. And if they're not answered, I'll answer them in the designated Q&A time. So today, the agenda is right after this, I will be going over the fast facts. If you are interested in applying with us, it would be good to know, what our admissions requirements are. And so I'll be going over that. Next, I will show you a video. A beautiful video published, created by Jose, one of my colleagues, also admissions counselor, and it is an application demonstration. After that, we're going to talk about where we can access the application, and then I will go over Q&A after. So I do see that someone posted a question in the chat to me, so if you can just use the Q&A section, not the chat function, that would be great. Thank you. Okay, so preview of UH Manoa. So this is our campus, our lower campus. This here is Doe Street. Doe Street is what separates upper campus from lower campus. So you can see this is a law library or stand share where there's games, graduation, stadium, and then our student housing complex around here as well. So this is lower campus. Yes. Okay, so our campus in total, both upper and lower, makes up about 320 acres of land, so it's a pretty big space. In terms of student characteristics, we are a state school, so a lot of our incoming freshmen do come from in-state, so we're about 2/3 in-state. As you can see by this picture here, the state of Hawaii is made up of different islands, and so we are on Oahu Island, it's kind of in the middle there, but there are other islands. So we do have a lot of students coming from these neighbor islands as well. So since this is about 2/3, we have about 1/3 coming from the continental US, or here in Hawaii, we refer it to the mainland. So about 2/3 coming from continental US. Because we are a school that participates in the WUE program, W-U-E, we do have a good handful of students coming in from the West Coast side, but if you're from the Midwest, the South, the Northeast, or the East Coast, we do have a lot of students coming in from there as well. Just because we are WUE, it makes us more attractive to West Coast applicants. And then we do have a pretty good international student number. We're about 7% international. Actually, we are the 6th most ethnically diverse college campus in the nation. So if diversity is something that is important to you, if you like, learning new cultures, walking around hearing different languages on campus, then we would be a really good option for you. Total enrollment is just under 18,000, and this includes graduate and undergraduate. So if you're interested in just the undergraduate numbers, we are about 12,500. And if you're interested in about the incoming freshman class, I believe this current fall 2020 freshman class is around 3,000 students. So that kind of gives you a ballpark idea of each year what kind of numbers we have. If you are interested in coming us for undergraduate, perfect, because this is a undergraduate admissions webinar. We have over 104 different bachelor programs that you can study in. But if you're thinking about post and what to do after you graduate, we do have a lot of graduate school programs as well. Just something to note, we are a Research One school. So what that means is the federal government gives us grants or federal money to use in research in different areas. So we have a land grant designation, sea grant, sun grant or solar power, and space. We actually rank top 12 in the nation for our space program. So if you're interested in land, sea, space, or sun, anything to do with research in that area, really, really great school for that. There's a lot of funding. If you're interested in anything else, again, we have over 100 different bachelor programs that you can study and major in, even double, quadruple major if you wanted to. Okay, so moving on to the cost of attendance. So we have a breakdown here by residency. So non-resident, if you are not a resident of Hawaii, then based off of 12 credits of tuition, this is the rate here. We actually recommend students take 15 credits or a bit more so that they can graduate on time in 4 years. So for example, when I was in college at UH Manoa, I actually took about 16 to 18 credits a semester, and that was like taking 2 to 3 free classes because we don't charge anymore after 12 credits, which is the base. And that's the minimum you need to be full-time. So take advantage of that, take those 1 or 2 extra free classes because you can, and it's all included in tuition. So I mentioned WUE, W-U-E, this stands for Western Undergraduate Exchange Program. So this is a national program that universities and colleges in the West Coast or west of the Rockies have the opportunity to participate in. So not all schools in the participating WUE states do participate, but UH Manoa is a school that participates in this program. And so this allows us to have a discounted tuition rate for the partner states in the WUE program. So if you want a complete list of, what states are in the WUE program, we have that on our website, but just west of the Rockies. And then university fees, again, this is for the year, so the whole year here. Books and supplies, that number will vary. Room and board, this number will also vary. I believe it ranges, and this is for the freshman housing, so this ranges from $12,500 to this number that you see, $13,006. And then personal expenses, and this number will also vary. So you can calculate about a few grand less than the total annual number that you see here because things will vary. But these numbers are an overestimation just to make sure that you budget accordingly and that you're not short on funds. Okay, now the big question is application checklist. What do I need to get accepted and what kind of students are we looking for? So we are not part of the Common App. We have our own separate application and I'll show you where that is briefly after this. So we do have an online application. We do have a $70 application fee. What you'll need is to attach your high school transcript, and we recommend submitting also letter of recommendation or personal statement. So like your typical like college essay statement. They are not required, but they're highly recommended because this year we have to do a more holistic view versus in previous years pre-COVID. So let's see here. If you are looking to see if we are test optional, if we are taking any test scores, we are taking test scores if you do have them, but if you do not have any SAT scores or you do not have any SAT scores, then no worries at all because they are not required for fall 2021. So 1 year from now, fall, they're not required because we know that tests are still being canceled. Some states are not even offering tests, so we are sensitive to that, and we know, there is a demand for it, and it's not really being met. So for that reason, we are going test optional, and we recommend having a stronger competitive GPA, and then also having, letter recommendation, a personal statement, because we're doing more holistic view for admissions this year. So pretty simple, it's holistic, not required, but just submit them just so that we can get a better view of what kind of student you are. And then for transfer students, because I do know we had a couple questions about transfer. So transfer students, the minimum GPA that you would need is 2.5 if you're not living in Hawaii, if you are not resident of Hawaii, 2.5 cumulative weighted GPA, and then you would need a minimum of 24 transferable credits. Okay, admissions timeline. So our application has been opened earlier this September, and then the priority deadline is January 5th, and our final deadline is March 1st. I strongly recommend that you submit your applications before January 5 or on January 5. That way, because we are doing a more holistic review, typically our application process timeline is about 4 to 6 weeks. However, during peak time, January 5 and on, that number can extend to even 8 weeks, 9 weeks, because we're receiving thousands and thousands of applications every day. So if you want to hear back sooner rather than later, definitely apply earlier before the priority deadline. Okay, so now we're going to watch a video about application. So if you want to screenshot this, take a picture of this, feel free to. I can also put this link in the Q&A. If someone asks the question, then I can type that in there. If not, just take a picture real quick.
We are the University of Hawaii at Manoa. As a flagship institution for the University of Hawaii system, we are the oldest and largest comprehensive research-led university in the state. You can pursue degrees in more than 100 different areas, take part in one of the most diverse and vibrant campus experiences in the country, and even take Manoa anywhere on study abroad. There's so many reasons why you should make Manoa yours. To apply to the University of Hawaii at Manoa, visit our main website, manoa.hawaii.edu/admissions. Scroll down and select the freshman application and begin to complete the required fields step by step. In step 1, you'll complete information that tells us about you. In the fields provided, complete your personal information, including name, contact information, date of birth, mailing address, email, and additional information that includes citizenship and ethnicity. Keep in mind the email you use for your application should be one that you check often, so we suggest you utilize a permanent personal email rather than one affiliated with your current high school. In step 2, you'll provide information regarding academics. Under enrollment plan, select Fall 2021 and select your planned course of study. If you're unsure about the degree you want to pursue, select Exploratory BA or one of our other exploratory options that best fit your interests. Keep in mind, what you select as a degree is not final, and you have the option of still changing your major. You will then notice a section that asks if you plan to participate in one of the following programs. For this specific question only, any applicant who has participated in Manoa Academy should make that selection. You will then continue to input your high school information, graduation year, then your high school counselor's contact information. If you attended early college as a high school student, participated in Running Start, or have taken additional courses at a community college, complete the required information which asks about your attendance. If you have taken courses at another institution outside of the University of Hawaii system, ensure that you contact those schools to have your transcripts sent directly to UH Manoa. You'll then get to a section titled Curriculum and Grades. This portion of the application is what we call self-reported, meaning that line by line, you'll report all courses you have completed in high school and the grades that you received. The easiest way to ensure accuracy in your records is to obtain an unofficial transcript from your college counselor or registrar, and then use that transcript as a guide to complete this section. Follow the application step by step and report your English, math, social studies, and science courses. Any courses you have taken that are split in terms with 2 separate grades can be simply listed on the same line, separated by a slash. You can also list the grade you received for each term on the same line. Any courses that you have completed that are credit or no credit, pass or fail, can be notated in the title, and the letter grade can be indicated by the letter P. Any courses that are currently in progress should be listed, but without a letter grade. When you reach the section titled Other, utilize the spaces to input additional core classes and college courses like foreign language. If you have additional room, you can self-report other electives you have completed. Once you self-report all your courses and completed that section, upload your unofficial high school transcript to your application. Personal statements and letters of recommendation are not required, but we highly encourage students to submit these supplemental documents because applications will be reviewed this year on a more holistic basis. If you currently have a personal statement, simply cut and paste your personal statement into the box provided. List all of your extracurricular activities and achievements in the following box titled Achievements. You can also submit your personal statements, letters of recommendation, and additional supplemental documents via email to manoa.admissions@hawaii.edu. Complete the remainder of Section 2 by filling out your cumulative GPA, class rank, and other required fields. Although tests are optional, if you have taken either the SAT or ACT, please indicate which test you have completed and report your scores. Lastly, in the section titled Additional Comments, you can add additional courses you are not able to report and other comments you would like our admissions committee to consider. The final step, Step 3, is where you complete your residency information. Line by line, fill out the fields regarding residency to the best of your knowledge. You'll then get to a portion that asks if your guardian claimed you on their personal tax information. If you click yes, it will prompt additional information for your parent or legal guardian to complete. Once the residency portion is complete, the final step will be for you to certify the accuracy of your application, then hit submit. When prompted, pay the $70 application fee to fully submit and complete your application. If you do qualify for a fee waiver, see your college counselor for appropriate forms which they will complete and submit directly to the Office of Admissions. Your official decision will be emailed to you between 6 to 8 weeks, so check your email within that time frame. On behalf of the University of Hawaii at Manoa and the Office of Admissions, mahalo for applying with us. We look forward to having you make Manoa yours.
Alrighty, so I do see in the chat that some people were having trouble with the audio. My volume was at max, so it might be your audio settings, but we do have, I'll go back actually so you can see the link here. So feel free to take a picture with your phone or screenshot it. Here is the link, so I'll give you a few seconds here. While we're waiting, I do see that there is a question asked about where you can upload your, where in the application will we submit the letters of recommendation. So in the video, there was a section after you actually fill out the application with the drop-down boxes, all the boxes there, you will have the option to upload. So there will be an upload section, and then you can upload your letters of recommendation, your personal statement, a resume if you want to. So I'm going to go ahead and mark that answered live. Okay, and then hopefully you've taken a picture already by now. So now you might be wondering where to apply. So now that I know what to expect, I know what the application is going to look at, I know what is expected of us, right, as the students coming in. So how can I now apply? So you would go to this website. This is, if you go to our main website, which would just be, cut off right after the admissions, there would be a tab, you can select prospective and freshman or prospective and transfer, depending on which one is more relevant for you. But I took screenshots of the freshman page. So at the top here, if you were to click or hover your mouse here, you would see freshman, transfer, etc. So if you're a freshman, it's this page. If you're a transfer student, then just go to our main admissions page, hover prospective, and then click on transfer. But I did go over the transfer requirements just for you. So this is the requirements I did go over in the beginning before I showed the video. So we'll just go through here. You scroll down, you see the next bit of information. There's things for homeschool. There's a checklist here. Scroll down the page a little bit more, and then you get to the end of the page. It gives you the deadlines, direct admissions programs. So if you are interested in getting into the business school, the nursing school, or the dental hygiene school, you can click on those links and get connected to those websites departments. But our application link is at the bottom here. So if you click on apply now, it would open up the application. or you can just have the application link. Either would take you to the same application. If you go this route, you would just be able to see all the information about our admissions requirements before you actually apply. So I would prefer you going through our website just to double check that you know what we're expecting, and then scroll to the bottom and then click apply. Okay, so that is all the information I have for you. The rest of the time will be Q&A. So if you do have questions, please type them in the Q&A section. I'm going to start answering the questions here. Okay, so Eric asked, who should I be asking for letters of recommendation? Okay, for letters of recommendation, we do recommend it being from, the academic side versus like extracurricular, like coaches or counselors, like youth counselors or something. So we do prefer having it academic, so a teacher, a guidance counselor that you've, having like college planning meetings with, just more on the academic side, because they can attest to your achievements, your potential as a student, which is what colleges will be looking for, right? We want to know, are you going to be a good student? Are you going to be successful? Will you be able to handle the rigor of college? So that's why we had asked for the academic side. So go ahead and mark that as answered. For the achievements portion of the application, what are you guys looking for? So this can be, if you've received any awards or recognition, if you, this would kind of be filling out the resume portion of an application. So any extracurriculars, if you were like a class body president, or you had a leadership role in any clubs, so things like that. Okay. Can transfer students apply for the freshman scholarships? What are the scholarship opportunities for sophomore transfers? Okay, so that is a good question. I'll answer the first one first. So if you are a transfer student, then you are not going to be a freshman, so you cannot apply, you would not be eligible for the freshman scholarships. Second part of the question, what are scholarship opportunities for sophomore transfers? So there's no, so like we have for the incoming freshmen with the New Warrior Scholarship, that is for incoming freshmen. We do have one that is for current junior standing Manoa students, so that is a presidential scholarship, but all of the other New Warrior scholarships are for new warriors, so freshmen incoming students. There is not one specifically for sophomores or for transfers. However, we do have several scholarship databases. So once you're accepted, you will have access into these different scholarship applications for the Hawaii System Common scholarship application, as well as STAR scholarships. STAR scholarships has over 400 different scholarships, and they all range. So some of it, you need to be, at least a sophomore standing, and then so you would be eligible for that. Some in there are meant for transfers. So if you're a transfer, you are given higher preference. So because it all ranges, I won't be able to give you an accurate answer if there's one specifically for sophomore transfers, but when you're accepted, you can look through the list. I do believe as a guest, you do have the option of just viewing the scholarships. You will only have viewing capacity, and you can't look at any other of the tabs, but you can at least get an idea of what kind of scholarships are being offered. So I will go ahead and type the answer there, and then I'll just type star.hawaii.edu, and then click on the scholarships tab. There should be a way for non-UH login, and then you'll be entered as a guest. Okay, so let me answer that. Okay, does this college offer a degree in environmental studies? Yes, actually there are a handful. There's more than 5 different types of majors in that area. So if you are interested in that, go to our main website and click on programs, and then you can see a list of all the programs there. Okay, so Luke asks, when should we fill out the WUI application? So there is only one application, and if you are a WUI student, or you're coming from a WUI state, then as we saw in the video, you would just check that checkbox that says, yes, I would like to be considered for a WUI. If you don't check that checkbox, don't worry about it. Like if you've already submitted your application and you're like, oh no, I don't remember checking off that checkbox. That is okay, because there's also a residency section, and that's where you have entered, you know, your address, your school's address. So we would know, you know, what state you live in, so we would be able to base it off of that as well. There's no separate application for WUI, it's the same. We would just basically look at your residency, see what state you're in, and then let's see, like I look, okay, you know, I have 2 applications in my box, let me check the student A, the residency, scroll down, okay, they're from California, let me code this one as a WUI student, and then it goes into the WUI box. So very, you know, standard, easy way to be considered for WUI. Let's see, what if we did take the SAT, but we do not like our score, and due to COVID, we could not take it again? Should we still submit our score? Yes, so because we are test optional, scores are not required. But if you do have a score, send it in. Even if you don't, you know, like your score, a score is a score, and sending it in can only help your application. It can only strengthen your application. So definitely, I would say yes, still submit your score. Okay. So the question, if I've had more than 5 science classes, how do I pick which ones to show on the application? Is there a way to show all of them? Yes, if you have more than, so for example, in the science section and you see class 1, 2, 3, 4, but you have, you know, several, like 3 others to fill out. If you scroll down, there will be other classes and you can submit it there. If you have additional classes that you weren't able to list there in the self-report, then you'll also be uploading your high school transcript, so we can cross-reference that as well. But you do need to fill out the self-report form with all of your classes, and then if there are any additional, on the notes at the very bottom, there's like, do you have any comments or anything? So you can just say, ran out of space for classes, please refer to transcript, and then we would be able to look at that. So don't have to stress about that. Okay, how do you enter 1 semester long classes into the application? That is, I guess I would need to know if you are a transfer or a freshman, but if it's a 1 semester long class, so let's say your school year is 2 semesters, so 1 semester you take English 1A, 2nd semester is English 1B, it's still English, so you would just put, you know, English 1A/1B. And then for the grades, just like how we saw in the video example, let's say you got a B your first semester and then a A your 2nd semester. For grades, you can put B/A, and we would know because you put the slash in your courses, so we would see the distinction there. Yeah, I wouldn't worry about if it's semester or quarter. If, for example, your semester 1 class was like English 1A, and then 2nd semester it was a completely different class, like creative writing 1A, those are separate classes and you would need to list them in different class sections. They're not the same class in that case. So just use your best judgment and see, you know, is this the same class? Can I put it in the same line? If it is, then just put a slash if you have 2 different grades for them. Okay, let's see. Can I transfer for fall 2021 if I have 16 credits when I apply, but I'm currently enrolled in 16 more credits for the spring semester of my college? Yes, you definitely can. So in the self-report class section, fill out whatever classes that you have. Even for the transfer application, there is a self-report for college classes that you are taking, and if you have a grade for them, because those are the 16 credits, submit those there, fill it out. And then your additional courses that you don't have a grade for, you can leave the grade blank because that indicates that it is in progress, or we should be expecting it. And then at the same time, because you're currently enrolled, those classes will show up on your college transcript. And as a transfer student, we do need to see all college transcripts from all the institutions that you attended. So when you go to the upload section, you can upload your most current transcript, what will have all your past classes, and then you're currently enrolled. So we'll be able to see and count the credits that you have, and so you would potentially be eligible. If you were to be accepted before your final grades for spring semester come out, you would be conditionally accepted on the condition that you pass your courses, and then we would do a credit course evaluation. So we'll mark that as answered. Okay. Are we allowed to apply undecided? Yes. So if you are not sure about what major you want to major in, perfectly fine. You know, a lot of students don't know what they like until they take different classes. So for that reason, we actually have an exploratory pathway major system. So there's 6 different exploratory pathways. So there's general exploratory, there is exploratory for like health sciences, if you think you might be interested in that kind of area. There's a STEM kind of exploratory, there's a social science kind of exploratory. So there's different exploratory majors. So if you are undecided, scroll on that drop-down list for majors, scroll down to the E section and look for exploratory. If you do have a preference for which of them, you can select it. If you don't know if you're like really exploratory, just click exploratory, and then that is the same as undecided. Okay, when are the applications due? So there are 2 deadlines. I will type the answer in there, so just in case people want to read it. January 5 is the priority deadline, so I recommend definitely submitting it by the priority deadline or even before. And then, oops, March 1st is the final deadline. So definitely get your applications in by March 1st. If we have a resume, but we've submitted already an application, do we send it via email or would it not be necessary? I would say it depends what your student profile looks like. It depends what your current GPA is, if it's pretty strong or competitive, if you were able to take any test scores, if you did submit them. But you know, just in case, if you do want to be sure, you can email it to us, and I'll type in our email address. So it is manoa.admissions@hawaii.edu. So you can email it to us and give your first and last name so that we know we can find the application to attach it to. If you have a common first last name, then a date of birth would also be helpful too. Okay. Will the fall 2021 semester be fully in class? So that is a good question, and I actually don't know the answer to that. I don't even know if spring 2021, right before the fall, will be offered in person. It really depends on, you know, a variety of different things, how our state numbers are doing, how, you know, the US is doing as a whole. So I don't think colleges really have a good answer or a good idea of that right now, but we will have an answer later on when more information becomes available to us. So when we do have that announcement, we will probably be sending out an email to everyone on our email listserv. So if you registered for this webinar, then you've likely received an email invitation for registration. So that means that you are on our listserv. Okay. What is the difference between units and credits? Okay, so Ray, I think you asked a couple of questions before, and I think they are based on the transfer. So when I was mentioning credits and units, I was talking about different things. So for freshman applicants, I was talking about units. So like 4 units or 4 years of math, 3 units or 3 years of like a laboratory science, units for freshman applicants. For transfer applicants, because you are in college, taking college courses, college courses, they give, it's on a credit system, right? So typically one college class is 3 credits. So that's why we look at credits for transfer students, because they're in college. So hopefully that gives you, hopefully that clarifies it for you. Okay, someone asked on the application, there is an achievement portion. What do you answer? What are you looking for? And I already answered that one, but basically, you know, any achievements, if you've gotten any awards or anything. Let's see, do you have to have a complete associate's degree in order to be considered a transfer student? No, not at all. You just need 24 transferable credits. So if your school right now is one class is 3 credits, then that means you just need 8 classes that would transfer over. It would be a transferable credit, and then you could apply to be a transfer student. So for most cases, it's about 8 to 10 classes, which is 1 to 2 semesters. So you do not have to have your complete associate's degree. Okay, how competitive is the NWS? So NWS is acronym for New Warrior Scholarships. How competitive are they? There are different types. So NWS is kind of like the umbrella overarching term, and then there are different scholarships. So one is automatic, one is the MAMS, Manoa Academic Merit Scholarship. That one is automatically given if you meet certain criteria. And that's given to all that apply before the priority deadline and meet that criteria. There is another one that is the Manoa Excellence Scholarship. That one is given to any non-resident applicant, and you have to meet certain criteria and also apply before the deadline to be eligible. That one in particular actually has an application where you have to submit, yes, your admissions application, but then separately an NWS scholarship application. And that application is due January 15. So you would need to apply for admissions before the priority deadline of January 15, and then apply for the NWS scholarship at that application. And they have, so that website is actually being updated now, and we will have actually a webinar on financial aid and scholarships. So the website will be updated and finalized, up and ready to go by October 15. So please hang on till then. You might be wondering, what is a criteria that you need to meet? That is being discussed because test scores previously were included in the criteria. So we are just finalizing some details, and then we'll have the information for you. So just wait till October 15. Okay. Are people allowed to change their major after they are admitted? Yes, actually, when I was in college, I changed my major about 3 to 4 times. So definitely possible to change your major. What you would do is, for example, let's say I was in biology, I started off in biology, and then let's say I wanted to go into business. So I would make an appointment. I'd reach out to the advisors in the Charlotte College of Business and say, hey, I am a 2nd semester freshman and I'm interested in changing my major. Can I make an appointment with you? I'd go make an appointment, meet with them, and they'd explain like, okay, let's look at the classes that you have. You know, you have 3 classes that would potentially count for the degree major. Are there any entrance requirements to this major for business? Yes. So how many of them did you complete? Blah, blah, blah. Let's plan out your 4 years. Do you know what you're getting into? Yes. Okay, then submit this major declaration form. You sign it, advisor signs it, submit it, and then it's easy. So it's just basically an advising appointment and a form, but easy to change your major. And there's no limit to how many times you can change your major, but I don't recommend changing too much because you do want to graduate on time. Okay, so I answered that one, how much does it usually cost to live in the dorms each month? So I'm not good at math. I'm not going to be able to divide that for you, but the yearly cost, it ranges from $12,500 to $13,600, depending on the meal plan that you select. For all students, housing is not required. However, for freshmen, if you're coming from out of state we would highly recommend, because you're new to the island, you don't know what neighborhoods are close by, you don't know the island, we highly recommend applying for housing. And you can apply for housing once you're accepted. And for freshmen, you have to enroll in a meal plan because it is included in the price. So divide, that number by 12, and then you can get a roughly range of, how much it would be per month. Let's see. Another question about student housing: is living in the dorms an option for the upcoming fall semester? So fall 2021, next fall. Yes, so you can live in the dorms, even though about 70–80% of our classes are being taught virtually online. We do have our students living in the dorms. So dorms are completely open. So that would be no problem. You would just have to be accepted first, and then you can apply for housing. Okay, do we just attach the most recent high school or college transcript? Yes, so just submit the transcript to your application. If you forgot to, you can email it to us, or if you want it to be an official copy, then have it sent directly from your school. So at your high school or your college, go to the registrar's or records office and then request that they send your transcript over to us. Typically, sometimes there's like a fee depending on the school, so you can do that as well. Okay, so I have time for maybe 2 more questions. Let's see. Do we apply for NWS after we get accepted? I believe I didn't answer this one. No, the deadline is January 15, so apply for admissions first and then apply for the NWS scholarship application. You will find out when you get accepted, about 4 to 7 weeks after you submit, depending on when you submitted your application. But for NWS scholarships, you'll be notified in the spring semesters, like around spring break or a little bit before then. Will the semester be online? Again, I don't know. I answered that question again. We'll look, at the numbers and see how we are later. Okay, so that is all the time that we have, but I do know we have some other questions. Some were based off of transfers, some is more geared towards student life. So for the questions that are geared more towards student life and you had a question about a specific major, I would actually just Google it. If I received an email and they're like, hey, how's the graphic design program? I would Google UH Manoa Graphic Design Department. It would be the first website. I'd click it, send that link to the student, like, okay, here's the graphic websites department. So, they have their own advisors that you can contact for more information. So if you have a specific question for a department, Google their UH Manoa and then the department, and then each website has their own contact us page, so you can email them or ask your questions directly to that department. For questions about applications, you can email us at manoa.admissions@hawaii.edu. And some other of these questions would be answered by looking through our website. So go to our main website, UH Manoa Admissions, and then just, peruse through that. All of your questions should be answered there. But if you have any other questions that can't be answered through the website or through this webinar, then you can email us. Thank you, Stacy. She put the email on the chat there since I cannot type something in the Q&A. So I'm going to go ahead and stop share here. Okay, so thank you so much, guys, for attending this week's webinar. Next week, we have a webinar for travel industry management and business majors. So if you are interested in business or travel industry, definitely check out that webinar. If you're not interested in it, we do have other webinars coming up in October through December. So thank you so much, guys, and you feel free to leave the meeting or end the webinar for you. That's all I have for you. Thank you so much.